Hello and welcome to the Next Gen Racing YouTube channel, proudly sponsored by Star Sports Bet. And this is our weekend preview where we're going to be looking at some of the top class action coming your way this weekend. And sadly, Jack's not with us again this week, but Jack is coming back. We're actually working on something very, very exciting for you guys. It's probably going to come to you in around June time, where there's going to be a whole new look to the channel. We're going to have an audio podcast as well, which will be out on Spotify, and potentially there's every chance that you might be going live as well much more often, which is very good for the channel. So do look out for that, but that's going to be happening from around June time, and there'll be also some exciting announcements with some potential vlogs in the summer that you guys can really start to enjoy. And if you do want to see stuff like that, let us know down in the comments, because they are different, and you'll get to, I think we had one at Goodwood. I'll put that link down in the description, but have a look at that, because that kind of style video is very different. It's not exactly what we all see on these sort of YouTube channels with previews of racing. I know you guys love seeing the previews, but potentially it's just something a little bit different for the racing industry, and let us know if you do want to see more of that. Now we're going to focus on Friday and Saturday's racing from Sandown. Obviously Friday we have a flat card, Saturday we have a jumps card from Sandown, and we're still in that just slight phase where we're kind of merging the two. We've had sort of, the Greenham last weekend. We've also had the Lincoln a few weeks back. But in between that, we've had Aintree, the Scottish National. It's all been kind of floating around. And this is the season finale this Saturday. And this is when the flat racing really starts to take full focus. So yeah, from Saturday onwards, I think we're kind of focused primarily onto the flat, and the jumps kind of takes a little bit of a backward step. Obviously in the UK we still have Punchestown over in Ireland, so Jack and I will be previewing that. But in terms of the UK action, I think this is kind of the end of everything for that, and it all switches to the flat. And we'll kick things off with the flat on the Friday. We'll preview two races from Sandown. I'd actually like to say that the entries for Sandown over the whole weekend, flat and jumps, has been quite disappointing. I mean, we'll discuss some of the jumps races in a second, but the Gordon Richards Stakes, which I was going to preview, but I'm not really going to bother. There's 3 runners in a Group 3. It's absolutely awful, in my opinion. Something needs to be done. The right people need to get involved to change this. And it's one of those where I probably have to sit down with a few people and get different people's opinions to see how that goes. But I just love to know kind of how we can change that and make sure that we get the runners like they do in Ireland and also over in France as well. So yeah, it is a shame, but we'll get on and we'll discuss the action anyway. This race here that we first previewed is the 3 o'clock. It's the Sandown Mile. It's a Group 2 race, obviously over a mile. We have 6 runners in here for a Group 2. Alcohol Free, she's back, 5-6 favourite with Star Sports. Sunray Majors 11-4. Mutasabek's 9-2. Lights On 12-1. Johan 18-1. And Ross Skylin is 28-1. And this race here, there's obviously only one focus for me, and for those who've watched this channel over the last year or so, you'd know that I'm a massive fan of Alcohol Free, and she's a filly that I've absolutely loved. I took her out of that Guineas when she ran. I told Jack, I said, this horse here will be winning so many races across this season, especially in the fillies division. But she ended up winning at Royal Ascot, but she also ended up winning at Glorious Goodwood, where she won the Sussex Stakes. Now, I don't think she'll be able to go and defend that crown this year. I think there's far too many horses that she could come up against. I mean, especially the 3-year-olds over a mile, and obviously Baid as well, who are excited to see run in the Lockinge. But I think Alcohol Free is going to have a fairly good time of things this season. I think that she's going to potentially, she'll be winning more group races. Whether she has a Group 1 in her again, we'll have to wait and see. It'd be interesting to see if she's come on again for 4. But yeah, I'm quite excited by her. I think she's probably going to go and win this. Sunray Major's just one of those horses. This horse now 11-4, been well supported in this market. And I can kind of understand why, because you can see that they obviously don't want to take the handicap route for this horse, even though the mark looks quite exciting, and potentially they could have, gone and won a decent handicap off that mark. But they obviously think this horse just is a group horse, and they just want to step this horse straight into it. And the fact it's been backed is interesting. The one where I have my end is that I don't like backing Gosden horses first time out. I know that they go and win. It's same with O'Brien horses as well, really. I know they can go and win, but I prefer to just leave them and let them be, and then potentially sort of, look at them for future races. And if they're a more attractive price, then I'll sort of take a bet. But for me, it is alcohol free. I think she's the star in here. I think she's going to be very difficult to beat. Rob Hornby takes the ride. Andrew Balding's horses are going very well. And I'm very excited to see her back and see what she can do. We're still in that phase, though, where these horses are running for the first time. I talk about it sort of most weeks at the moment, but we're slowly getting to the end of it where horses are having their first runs. And it's one of those where you just got to kind of see, because some horses, that they do come on a lot for that first run, and some can be a bit lackluster on their opening day of the season. So do take that into account and keep the stakes small, in my opinion, to start the season. Always gamble responsibly, especially sort of at the start of the flat season. But let's move on from that, and we'll go to the 3:35, which is the classic trial. This is a Group 3 over 1.25 miles, and in here we have the Godolphin Hot Pot again. No surprise, it's Gold Spur, even money favourite. River Thames for the Aidan O'Brien team's 3-1. Cash 13-2. I think that horse is a little bit too big in there. Fantastic 15-2. Westover 9-1. Franz Strauss is 11-1. Oh God, I have to be boring. If Jack was on here, he'd be slating me this week. But I think Gold Spur is probably going to go and win this. We look at the form of Godolphin at the moment. And they are just flying. It's simple as that. They had another winner at midweek at Epsom in the Blue Ribbon Derby trial, basically there. And that horse there was game as anything, stayed to the line so well, and will get even further. And William Buick's riding out of his skin. He's even riding winners, outside of the Godolphin stable. So I just think the Gold Spur here, that the 2-year-old form is very impressive. Third in a Group 1 in France on ground that this horse probably didn't like. That was soft that day, but won the Zetland in good style prior to that at Newmarket. And I went back and looked at that Zetland, and he actually finished just under half. It's just under half a length in front of Haffet. Now Haffet is another one from the same stable who ran at Newbury last weekend, and this horse finished second to Walk of Stars, and they drew clear of the third. There were only 3 runners that day, but I think that could turn out to be a fairly smart race, even though there were 3 runners. I just think that potentially you've got 2 Godolphin stars there. I know they've got plenty of them, but I think that Walk of Stars and Haffet are very good horses, and a Gold Spur finished cosily clear of Haffet that day, and I've got a feeling the Gold Spur could turn out to be quite a smart horse. River Thames, I said it before, I can't back Aidan O'Brien's horses first time out. I think about 90% of these horses seem to come on a hell of a lot for their first run. I know horses do come on for their first runs, but Aidan seems to take a massive step forward, some of them. I'm sure horses like Luxembourg he'll have primed and ready for a Guineas though, but yeah, I just can't be having it. Cash, I mentioned, could be overpriced in here. I just think this horse's sole run, looking at it, was at Newmarket at 2, and the form of that's turned out to be pretty smart. The second raced at Kempston and won fairly cosily there, but the third actually ran last week at Newmarket and finished third to New London. And I think New London's a smart horse for Godolphin. That horse has Dante and Derby entries, and I've got a feeling that he'll go to the Dante and he could potentially be a live wire in there. So I think the Cash potentially has the fact they only had 1 run at 2. I've got a feeling that they kind of thought after that, we'll keep the horse, we'll put the horse away, and let this horse really grow into his frame, and he could be a potential big imposing horse. It'd be interesting to see kind of how the horse looks on Friday. I'm intrigued to see it, but yeah, Cash I think could be overpriced, and the Gosden pair are very interesting as well. But I mean, again, I just think that I prefer backing those horses after they've had a run. But Fantastic is the choice of Frankie Dettori, which may be a slight sign in there, although I think the other one's Godolphin owned. So yeah, James Dawes going to take the ride there. But I've got a feeling that Frankie's probably on the right one for Gosden anyway, in Fantastic, and obviously in colours that he's very familiar with the likes of Golden Horn. So yeah, for me it's going to be Gold Spur and alcohol free, and I've got a feeling that if I was to have a bet on them, it would be a small double potentially, rather than backing them as singles. Now let's get on to Saturday then, where we go into the season finale. We obviously see the champion jockey being crowned, and that's going to be Brian Hughes. Brian Hughes got 200 winners on Wednesday. We knew he was going to get there eventually. It was just a matter of time. It felt like it was dragging out a little bit, but no, he got there, and he well deserved. The bloke works hard, and people can say what they want about this guy not riding that many Grade 1 winners, but the work ethic he puts in to get winners and grinds them out is superb. Like, he goes here, there and everywhere. I know he primarily is based in the north, but he has a goal for the season. His goal is to be champion jockey, and he'll do that whatever way he fancies doing it. Some jockeys live for these big grade ones, but Brian Hughes this season, he's kind of come out and just said, look, I'm going to get the champion jockey title, and he's done that in really, really impressive style. He joins the club of AP McCoy, Peter Scudamore and Dickie Johnson. So, 200 winners, so impressive, and you wouldn't be surprised if he were to go and do it again next year. And Nichols trained champion trainer. We'll talk about some of his horses in just a second, but let's start things off with the 225. This is the Oxy Chaser, Grade 2, over 2 3/4 miles. And Mr. Fisher is your 6-4 favourite in here. St Calvados, 9-4. Nutswell, 7-2. And Earn River is 5-1. Now, this was a race that, oh God, my head was spinning after looking at this race, because I wanted to kind of challenge Mr. Fisher. He's not a horse that I've really grown to love. And I thought St Calvados might be the one to do it. However, I went back and looked at form on really quick going, and I know a lot of these horses have had a go on quicker going, but I've got a feeling Mr. Fisher and St Calvados would prefer a little bit more juice in the ground. Nutswell and Earn River have both won on good going. I think Earn River was over hurdles, mind you, but the horse shouldn't mind this quicker going, and Earn River was actually well fancied at Aintree, put up by a lot of big tipsters. The horse unfortunately didn't run its race and obviously fell at Aintree, didn't really look to settle anyway. So I'd like to think that Earn River can show a lot more. And Nutswell as well, a horse, obviously Brian Hughes is taking the ride. Now that would be a great story for him to have a big Grade 2 winner on the day that he gets crowned champion jockey. But I just got a feeling that they could potentially, it wouldn't be a shock, would it, with the market, the fact that they're so close in the market, but it wouldn't shock me if Earn River or Nutswell went and won this. It really wouldn't, because I just think that the going is going to be the key here. I know Nichols' horses do like the spring ground, but I just think, imagine it would be so great to see either Nick Kent or Anne Hamilton train the winner, in front of the two British big guns in terms of Henderson and Nichols. You'd really like to see it, and a lot of people have got a fair bit of belief in Nick Kent and his horse Earn River, because the horse's game as anything. He has put in, as many ones as you want next to his name, bar that fall. So if I was to have a potential bet in the race, I think I'd actually go with Earn River without the favourite. And I don't know what price that would be, but yeah, I'd be willing to take on the favourites in here and potentially see a small shock in the Oxy Chase. But yeah, it's an interesting one. I'd be intrigued to hear people's thoughts on that. Let me know down in the comments what you think, and whether you think that one of those two at the top of the market is a good thing, but I personally cannot see it. I think it's a very difficult race, but I think there could potentially be one of the outsiders in the market. I know it's not a big price, but they could go close. So an interesting little race that Oxy Chase. Now, a race that is going to be good to discuss is this Celebration Chase. This is a Grade 1 over 2 miles at 3 o'clock at Sandown. And Greenatine and Nube Negra share favouritism with Star Sports at 6-4. Sky Royale 7-2. I love that horse. Rouge Viv 14-1. Sky Pirate 33-1. And it's just a massive shame that Jack's not on this video, to be totally honest. And I haven't actually spoken to Jack with regards to who his best bet is this weekend, but I'm going to put his best bet up for him without him making that decision. And I'm going to say that his best bet is Nube Negra at 6-4 this week, because he loves this horse and he really wants to see his horse go and win. I know that Langadan didn't do what he wanted him to do at Cheltenham and then came out at Aintree and did the job. And obviously this horse here didn't run at Cheltenham due to the going, and now comes here, and I'm sure Jack is going to think the same thing's going to happen as what happened with Langadan. And I know people might say that this horse doesn't like Sandown, but the thing is, the horse won a decent novice chase around Sandown, so I don't think you can really say that. I just think that Tingle Creek was a little bit of a mess, to be totally honest. We saw Shack and Poursoir also blow up a bit in that, and I just think that, you see what Shack and Poursoir did in the Champion Chase. He was absolutely tanking until he came down. He looked like he was going to run a massive race, actually. I know they were down the back straight, but I thought he had a right chance the way he was travelling. So I just think Nube Negra is a better horse than he showed in that Tingle Creek. Greenatine is a horse that I do think is a very lovable type, but for me, I just think that he's potentially going to get beaten here by Nube Negra, and I'm sure Jack is going to be sharing that same opinion. Sky Royale is a horse who, he's game as anything, Sky Royale. He really is. I love him because he's been around for so long, switching it between hurdles and fences, and I've got a feeling that he will put in he'll be travelling fairly strongly, I think, but I just don't think he's up to the the level of the top two in the market here. But yeah, Nube Negra on what I think could be potentially a very big day for the Skeltons on Saturday. But yeah, myself and Jack will be with Nube Negra in the Celebration Chase. Now let's get on to the final race we're going to be previewing. A nice quick preview. It's obviously going to be easier for me to preview the races a lot quicker when I'm on my own, but the last race we're going to preview is the 332 Bet365 Gold Cup over 3.5 miles. It's a grade 3 handicap chase, and Enrillo is your 7-2 favourite in here. I think that's a fairly short price. Kitty's Light 4-1. Win My Wings 5-1. Obviously those two 1-2 in the Scottish National. Phlegmatic Musical Slave 8-1. Potterman 10-1. Captain Naught is 12s and 14's Bar. Now, a few little stats for this one is that I'm pretty sure favourites don't tend to have a very good record in this race. So that's why I'm saying Rillo is probably quite a bit short in here. And also no winners in the last 10 years ran in either the Grand National or Scottish National. We're not talking about wins, we're talking about just running in the race. So potentially if you wanted something to put you off Kitty's Light and Win My Wings, that could be the stat that does so. Now, I've been reading everything and obviously listening to what Christian Williams has to say, because he's a master at training these long distance chasers. He's got 3 in here: Captain Naught, Win My Wings and Kitty's Light, and he seems to be favouring Kitty's Light, and the betting does show that as well. Obviously this horse was third last year, probably unlucky not to actually get the win in the end, because we look back at that race, it was a bit of a mess at the finish, but Potterman ended up with the race. I don't think he'll be doing it again, but realistically Kitty's Light probably deserved to actually win that race last year, and I'm sure Christian Williams has come back to try and grab that trophy, because I think they probably did deserve it, and the horse is probably still well handicapped. I'm not sure Win My Wings is still well handicapped. I think she's a very, very good horse and could defy any marks, to be totally honest. But the horse that I'd be with, and potentially an each way angle in here, is a horse called Phlegmatic for the Skeltons. This is why I say Skeltons could have a good day. I just think that Phlegmatic, this horse is an improving type, and I know that there's plenty of horses in here who could go on and improve, and we hear that term all the time, but this horse actually finished ahead of Kitty's Light at Christmas time at Kempton. And I'm pretty sure Kitty's Light was giving it away something almost 2 stone. I think it was like 22, 23 pounds to Phlegmatic that day. I think it's now only 6. So, yeah, it's going to be a tough ask, but I just think that potentially Phlegmatic is improving all the time. He's only a 7-year-old, and I think he's actually going to be in for a big term next season. He's going to be one of my horses to follow next year, but been very consistent. 2 wins on the bounce recently, going for a hat-trick of wins. I think he's going to absolutely love the ground, to be totally honest, and I'd be quite excited by him. He's a horse who I think is going to be travelling very strongly as they kind of come into that bend at Sandown and turn into the straight, and I've got a feeling that he's going to put in a really big run. I think 8-1 is potentially a decent each way price about that horse. So if you wanted my 1, 2, 3 in here, I think Phlegmatic will probably go and win this. I think Kitty's Light will finish second, and I think Enrillo might just fill the placings with third. So it's going to be an interesting one. Also, let me know down in the comments who you're going to be fancying this one, because this is probably the big race on Saturday and the hardest one to call. But yeah, Phlegmatic for me each way, that is going to be my horse. Now, naps are next best. Jack hasn't actually given me the nap and next best, but Jack's nap this weekend on my own decision will be Nube Negra, and I'm going to put that in the box that's on screen now, so that's there. And my bets, as you can see on screen there, is actually going to be on the Friday in the 4:10 at Sandown. Now, this is Atlantis Blue for David Manouzier. David Manouzier has been going a superb strike rate recently, and he's probably unlucky not to have had 3 winners last weekend, where Godolphin finished ahead of him in all three of those races. I just think that the yard are in fine form. They obviously had Soto Sizzler at Epsom. They had 2 winners out in Shanty only a week or so back. I've just got a feeling this horse at 12-1 is a fairly big price. Jamie Spencer's booked and could run a decent each way race here at 11-1. I think the horse will go very well, and David Manouzier in an interview said that he was looking forward to running this horse. But yeah, Atlantis Blue will be my nap, and obviously Nube Negra is going to be my next best in the Celebration Chase. So that is going to be it for this week, and I do apologise that we've only got myself on this week, and let us know if you do want to see guests on this channel more, because Jack and I have got we feel like we've got a great rapport with each other on this channel, and we love doing videos together, and we feel like we bounce off each other very well. But we have had guests on this channel before. We've had some really good names, the likes of Andrew Halligan and the Finishing Line Boys. We've had Racing Willow. We've also had Izzy Phillips. We've had Oshin. Let us know if you want to see any more sort of guests on this channel and who you'd like to see, because we're more than happy to try and approach them and get them on. Or if you'd like to see a jockey or trainer come on, then we are always happy to try and do it, especially with this new look to the channel come middle of the year. So we want your guys' opinions. We want to know what you guys think, and obviously, we'll adapt the channel around you, because at the end of the day, if you're enjoying watching what we do and think we can improve on it, let us know how, because that's the only way that we're going to be making better content. But yeah, honestly, thanks for the support so far with the channel. We've set it up just over a year now. We've had the channel going, and we've loved doing it for you guys, and it's only going to continue the more you keep supporting. So do subscribe if you haven't already. Do give the video a like. Take a check out of Star Sports down below, in the link down below. Have a look at their website, and we will be back with you guys on Monday. And this will be our flat anti-post video. And one thing that's going to be exciting is Jack will be joining me in the studio for this video. We will be back in the studio producing content just for this week only, but you're probably going to see more of it in the summer as well. But yeah, Jack will be back for a special video where we're going to be getting our best flat anti-post bets of this season. So yeah, very exciting for the flat season ahead. But yeah, once again, thanks for the support, thanks for watching, and we'll see you very soon.